Denver 7 On Demand is brought to you by Ferguson and BAC Appliance Center, the best in bath, kitchen, and lighting for your home.
Good Thursday morning to you. I'm Molly Hendrickson.
And I'm Nicole Brady with the latest from Denver 7. We're following breaking news in Weld County where Greeley police are investigating an officer-involved shooting. This is the third one along the Front Range in just the past 24 hours. This latest shooting happened around 10:30 last night along Highway 85 in Evans. Greeley police say it started with them chasing two speeding cars and ended with a confrontation and officers shooting one of the drivers. That person was injured. It's not clear what happened to the other driver involved. As we said, this is the third officer-involved shooting in the past 24 hours along the Front Range and the 10th in the span of just 1 week. Yesterday afternoon, Weld County deputies say Fort Lupton police shot someone after some kind of disturbance. And earlier yesterday morning, Inglewood police shot a woman inside a parking garage near Swedish Medical Center.
This morning, the search for this missing Woodland Park mom is centered around a landfill south of Colorado Springs. Kelsey Barrett has not been seen since Thanksgiving morning. She is presumed dead. Waste Management says the Colorado Bureau of Investigation contacted them to search the Midway landfill in Fountain right off I-25. That's about a 45-minute drive from Woodland Park. Barrett's fiance, Patrick Frazee, was arrested just before Christmas in connection to her death. Investigators say more arrests could still come. Kelsey's body has still not been found. We'll be reaching out to CBI and the district attorney's office today to learn more about this latest search.
The teachers have been working under a contract extension for 10 months. So far, all negotiations have failed, but they're coming back to the bargaining table today and tomorrow. The school district says it's negotiating in good faith and will be adding an extra $6 million to base salaries. They also plan to add an additional lane for a total of 6 lanes for educators to grow their salaries. The union says instead of lanes, they want a set salary schedule based on education and experience. The union says they are prepared to strike if their needs aren't met. Denver Public Schools Superintendent says if that happens, schools will not shut down.
We would like to settle this contract, and we're working really hard to make that happen. But still, we don't have consensus in terms of the structure of the salary schedule.
If we don't get to an agreement, we will absolutely take every step that we need to keep school open.
Teachers will vote on whether to strike this Saturday, but according to the union, that strike wouldn't begin until the 28th. Reporting in the newsroom, Micah Smith, Denver 7.
If teachers do decide to strike, it would be the first in Denver since 1994. Of course, students would be hurt the most by this, but Denver's superintendent, as you heard, said substitutes are ready and schools will remain open. Today's bargaining session starts at 9 a.m. There is another plan for tomorrow. The teachers union plans to vote Saturday to either ratify the contract or strike. But a strike would not likely start on Monday, and here's why. The superintendent could ask Governor Jared Polis to intervene. That would prevent teachers from striking until the state makes a ruling, which could take up to 180 days.
The partial government shutdown is now in its 27th day. We could soon see a major ripple effect here in Colorado that will be felt for months. This is usually the time of year when fire managers train for wildfire season, clean up dead trees, and perform controlled burns to thin forests. But those mitigation efforts are on hold due to the shutdown. Our federal workers are getting hit hardest. We have this list on the denverchannel.com right now of Colorado businesses and agencies offering to help furloughed workers and their families. And tonight there will be a special reunion at Fort Carson when about 200 soldiers return home from a deployment to Afghanistan. These soldiers helped increase stability and security against terrorists. We can expect several more homecomings in the coming weeks.
We have a Contact 7 consumer alert this morning about a company claiming to install solar panels. 2 years after an Aurora woman was supposed to get them, she still has no panels. Jackie Johnson says she's run out of options, which is why she called Contact 7. She says she signed a contract with Inner Soul Inc. in April of 2016 for $13,000. Her home was inspected and the solar panels set to be installed in December of 2016. Now, more than 2 years later, this is what her roof looks like.
It was always one excuse after another. No solar panels. I'm devastated. I mean, I feel so betrayed.
Well, today Contact 7 is going to work for Jackie to try and get answers for her. Our story will continue throughout the day on Denver 7. If you have a problem you want Contact 7 to look into, call the number on your screen, 720-462-7777. We also have that number listed on the denverchannel.com. You can also let us know what your situation is by contacting us on Facebook or Twitter.
Tuberculosis testing continues today for about 200 students, teachers, and staff at Aurora Hills Middle School. The health department says there is no longer a risk for exposure at the school. Some of the symptoms to look out for include a cough, fever, or night sweats. Not everyone exposed to TB will get infected. There's also a concern of a measles outbreak in downtown Denver. The health department is trying to track down anyone who came in contact with a person who has contagious measles. They say this person made several stops around Denver between last Wednesday and this Monday before they were diagnosed. If you happen to be at Blue Creek Therapeutic Health Spa on East 29th Avenue, the Stapleton King Supers on Quebec Street, the Care Now Urgent Care on Havana, or the ER at St. Joseph Hospital, pay attention. If you notice any symptoms, call your doctor.
This morning, the Downtown Denver Partnership will release its economic forecast for 2019. We got a preview, and experts say despite all the growth in housing and jobs downtown, it's not adding to traffic congestion.
We look at the downtown employee base and we survey them each year. About 2/3 of the people get downtown today by some means other than their car. They're taking the transit, they're taking their bike, they're walking, and now taking scooters. So we can grow downtown with really little impact and congestion to our highways, which I think is a benefit to the region.
And the full economic forecast will be officially released at the Hyatt Regency at the Colorado Convention Center today. We will bring you details as part of Denver 7's Our Colorado initiative, which is all about Denver's rapid growth and its impacts, both good and bad.
A new report released by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration finds Colorado might be in trouble come this spring and summer for snow runoff. It finds the impacts of last year's drought continue to linger in our state. The majority of the problems are in the southwestern part of our state, where spring runoff is expected to be much below average at 50 to 70%. Most basins in the Central Mountains are slightly better, but still below average at 70 to 90%. Basins along the Front Range are with the best averages between 90 and 110%. And now from the First Alert Weather Center, here is Lisa. Lisa, they're going to get a little help.
Yeah, they really are. In fact, yeah, statewide, we're at 95% of normal right now when it comes to snowpack. And all is pretty quiet this morning. The mountains picked up some pretty good snow, about 4 to 10 inches within the last 24 hours. And guess what? There is plenty more to come. This storm, this next one, hitting the coast of California, bringing some flooding rains to California. That's going to stretch more snow into our state, and it gets heavier tonight. We'll talk more about it coming up. First, as you get out the door this morning, in the 30s, but this afternoon we're likely going to be in the low to mid 50s. So Denver right about 52 to 55 under a little mix of sun and clouds. So it's a really nice afternoon and quite a few degrees above normal. Tomorrow it's going to get colder. Those winds will shift by midday. We'll see highs in the upper 30s to low 40s, but it's likely going to feel more like 20s. So breezy with a slight chance for some light snow. We're not expecting heavy snow across the plains. It'll be about a trace to up to an inch, but the heavy snow is going to be west of the divide with more than a foot by Friday night. Heading into the weekend, things warm up for a couple of days, and then we've got another shot at some light snow as we head into the first of next week, and it gets colder. So 30s, 40s, and 50s, a wild 7-day forecast.
All right, thanks, Lisa. Next week, you can start bidding to get your hands on a piece of a Colorado staple which recently closed down. White Fence Farms in Lakewood will hold an auction next Friday at noon for all of its antiques and equipment. Now, this includes everything from a treehouse playground to the rooster on the roof. The restaurant closed its doors in December after more than 40 years in business. The idea came from the restaurant's final days when the general manager says people were coming in willing to pay for a piece of history.
We had a gentleman wanting to buy the slide out in the Americana barn to put in his patio for his grandkids. We've had people interested in the gazebo. We've had people interested in the fountain behind me.
And we have a link right now on thedenverchannel.com for details on that auction.
A Truly Denver art exhibit is returning the first week of March. The Side Stories art exhibit will be in the Rhino District March 1st through the 8th. Last year was the first year for this exhibit. Artists have short films projected on walls where people can just stop by and watch them. This year there will be 8 films featured on the walls near the Source and Great Divide Brewery to the Ardent Mills Flour Mill.
The Cheyenne Mountain Zoo wants to make sure one of its own taken too soon is never forgotten.
Yes, well, we remember Penny, the giraffe who had to be euthanized shortly after she was born because of complications. Now the zoo plans to honor Penny by building a life-size statue of her. This is a model of what it will look like.
Yeah, and zookeepers and staff who spent a lot of time with Penny when she was born last summer, they've actually helped the artist design the statue. The zoo says it should be finished later this year. This next story is great. Our Denver 7 cameras were there for another special reunion last night at the Denver Dome Friends League.
Yeah, you gotta watch this video. You will not be disappointed.
Well, that is Catherine Coogan and her 4-year-old son, Evan, reuniting with Evan's therapy dog, Rubble. We first brought you their story last month when Rubble was taken outside a Denver restaurant in the Highlands neighborhood.
If it wasn't for Channel 7 News, if it wasn't for you guys, you have no idea how many people started looking for this animal. And he is so important. And he's been through so much.
Well, little Evan was so excited just waiting for Rubble this past month. He kept saying Rubble's name over and over again. And as you saw, they all were just thrilled, Rubble included, to be there.
Great video. Well, this has been your Denver 7 On Demand update. Thanks for joining us.
Check back here later tonight for another update and download the Denver 7 app for breaking news and alerts.